day everyone, this is Dr. VNSR Venkateswara Rao, working as an Associate Professor from the Department of Chemistry in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, Hyderabad 543. Today I would like to give the topic on the land resources. So these are one of the important topic related to the environmental chemistry, and mainly first of all we see what are the contents involved in the today's topic. So first of all, we see introduction to the land resources. After that, we discuss about the classification of the land resources. Then, what is the land degradation phenomena? Finally, we completed the topic with the types of erosion with suitable examples. Okay. So first of all, let us see the introduction to the land resources. So first of all, land is the major part of the lithosphere. So it is the one of the sphere present in the earth crust. So land is the made up of the nothing but soils, rocks, and are considered as a very important resources of the earth. So the land is nothing but a mixture of soil and rocks, which is the important source of the earth. So it is mainly present in the lithosphere. Okay, so land plays a major role for the growth of crops, vegetation, forest, etc. So it is mainly applicable depends upon the soil or sand based on the percentage of the crop dependence takes place. So different sands gives the different types of the crops that will be depends upon the particular area. So land represents an important resources for the economic life of a majority of the people in the world. So that means each and every country should depends upon the farmers. So that's why it is very economic to the each and every country on the surface of the earth. So the way of the people handle and use the land resources is decisive for their social and economic well-being as well as for the sustained quality of the land resources. That means it is the every human responsibility to improve that land resources, particular in their respective country. So why? Because the financial and economic situation should be depends upon the land resources present in the country. So land use, however, is not only an area of those directly using it. So it is exposed to a part of the wider reality of social and economic development and change. So land use, therefore, is a highly dynamic process. That means the importance of land is nothing but a static. It is very dynamic process, and it will be changes from time to time and season to season, like summer, winter, and rainy seasons. That means the importance, the percentage of crop percentage of the land should depends upon the seasons also. So land is a physical entity which includes the natural resources like forest, water, minerals, food, energy, and etc. So that means land is the biggest resources for the biotic community to reproduce, live, sustain, grow, exploit, and many life supporting activities. That means based on the land, our natural resources like forest, water, and mineral, and food, energy should depends upon mainly takes place based on the percentage of the land quality. And the land is the biggest resources, not only biotic community, and it is also applicable to the biotic community like plants, animals, and so many it can reproduce, and each and every living organisms should depends upon the land resources. So the land is used for the building homes, cultivating food, maintain pastures for domestic animals, industrial use, etc. So the land resources not only useful to living resources, even it will be applicable to non-living resources like industries also. That means even industries also depends upon the land resources. So it is equally important to protect forest, grasslands, wetlands, mountains, coast, etc. in order to presence of the biodiversity. So that means the land present on the in each and every case. For example, if we can take as forest, it should be having some type of the land, whereas the grasslands having the land on the surface present on the grass, and wetlands present in the moisture conditions, whereas mountains and coast depends upon the environment should be changes. So depends upon the situation demanded environment, the biodiversity will be takes place. So soils are formed due to the disintegration of the rocks by various physical processes like change in temperature, pressure, blowing wind, and flow of the water. That means the nature of the soils or quality of the soils will also depends upon the mainly four factors. That is, first one is the temperature, and the second one is the pressure, and the third one is the blowing wind, and fourth one is the flowing of the water. So for example, if we can take as a agricultural land, it should be always present in the wet condition and availability of the flow of the water, and the temperature of the is very very important for growth of the plants. So these are the very very important factors in order to improve the quality of the land. So the top layer of the soils consists of the mixture of humans, dead leaves, and plants. Some of them living organisms and inorganic components which supply the nutrients to the soil. That means inorganic nutrients, nothing but zinc, silica. These are present in the soil, which can improve the quality of the land in order to develop the nutrients present in the soil for the growth of the plant purpose. And also, living organisms will also depends upon these inorganic components. So first of all, we see the classification of the land resources. So first one is nothing but a soil composition. That means soil fertility depends upon the four major components of the soil are mineral materials, organic matter, water, and air. That means the soil composition, first one nothing but mineral materials which are coming from the inorganic components like zinc, silica, iron. These are the important of the minerals. Whereas organic matter means it involves the carbon related compound, nothing but hydrocarbons, and water. Water is nothing but a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen, and also air containing so many gases, which each and everything should develop the quality of the land. So that is nothing but a soil composition. After that, we see the mineral materials. That means the mineral material elements like silica, iron, oxygen, magnesium, aluminum, calcium, sodium, potassium, and etc., including quartz, nothing but silica dioxide and iron silicates and aluminum silicates. That means silica belongs to the fourth group of the periodic table, and iron belongs to the transition element 3D block, whereas the oxygen also belongs to the sixth group of the periodic table, and magnesium belongs to the second group of the periodic table, whereas aluminum belongs to the third group, and calcium also belongs to the second group of the periodic table, whereas sodium and potassium both are belongs to the first group of the periodic table. That means almost all these elements belongs to the inorganic components. So these elements are nothing but a mineral elements, and quartz is nothing but the combination of the silica and oxygen of formula SiO2, and iron silicates means Fes. So after that, we see aluminum silicates, AlSa. So all are the best examples for a mineral material elements. So next one, organic matter came from the residues of the plants and animals. Organic matter can be crop residues, grasses, bacteria, fungi, other microorganisms, and animal waste. That means the organic matter includes the debris of the plants and animals, which includes the residues of the crop. Very very important in order to grow the grasses, and some of the microorganisms will also helpful to improve the quality of the land through the organic matter. These are nothing but bacteria and fungus and other microorganisms. So after that, we see water. So it is a good solvent for many nutrients which move into plants roots. That means there is a channel in order to absorb the plant roots, and after that it will be growing takes place. That channel is nothing but the root of the plants through water. So that means water plays a very very key role in case of the growing of the plant. That means that's why the water is nothing but a good solvent in order to absorb the so many nutrients from the soil through root plant of the living organisms. And after that, we see air. air encourages the optimum rate of the essential metabolic process of various organisms. That means in order to wind is the one of the natural resources. That wind resources will also depends upon the air. Finally, it increases the optimum rate of the essential metabolic process of depends upon the various microorganisms. So after that, we see the land degradation. Land degradation. That means any change in the land that reduces the its quality and productivity is referred to as land degradation. So once again, I repeat the land degradation. That means any change in the land that reduces its quality and productivity. That changes its quality and productivity is nothing but a land degradation. That means in order to reduce the quality of the land and production of the production from the land through plants, nothing but that will be reduction takes place is called as land degradation. So the land degradation results in the deterioration of the soil or loss of fertility of the soil. That means mainly the degradation of the soil will also takes place in order to loss of the fertility. That means plant growth will be decreases. So what are the reasons for the land degradation? So first one is the nothing but population. So with rapid growth in the population, more land is needed for the producing food, wood, fiber, and fuel. So if the population will be increases, that will be directly proportional to the production of the food and production of the wood and also fiber materials and also fuel consumption will be takes place. Thus, land resources are overutilized, causing the land degradation. Whenever the population increases, they need the so many natural resources for growing up their self community. So that's why they are depends upon the so many materials. Best examples nothing but the food and fuels and fiber materials. So these are mainly depends upon the land resources. If you improve if you need these materials one by one, automatically what happens, the land degradation will also takes place. So second one, urbanization. So because of the population, urbanization also increases. The urbanization leads to the deforestation, which affects the millions of the plants and the animal species. That means so many people they are depends upon their own jobs. That's why they are moved to urbanization. And in order to improve the urban areas, we can apply we can apply the deforestation takes place. Because of the deforestation, it affects the so many types of the plants and animal species. So it is the also one of the reason to develop the land degradation. And fertilizers and pesticides, that means to improve the agricultural productivity. To improve the agricultural productivity, fertilizers and pesticides are used on the large scale. That means whenever the population increases, they demands the food resources. So in order to improve the percentage of the crops, agricultural productivity, we use the so many synthetic products, nothing but hybrid varieties, fertilizers and pesticides based on that to improve the hybrid fruits and flowers and hybrid food products. So the excess use of the fertilizers and pesticides leads to the pollution of the land and water. So the land gets the degraded further takes place. That means in order to usage of the fertilizers and pesticides, they are involved the manufacturing of the so many harmful chemicals that reduces the land quality. So damage to the topsoil. That means increased food production causing damage of the topsoil through nutrient depletion. So in order to damage of the topsoil, what happens? The nutrient percentage will be decreases. And water lagging. So the land productivity reduces because of the rise in groundwater close to the or above the soil surface cause water lagging. So this is caused because of the incorrect irrigation management. So whenever the pesticides and fertilizers are improved, what happens? The water lagging also takes place. That means in a given time, we sufficient produce the water resources and salination. So the land degradation is also caused by the increases of the salt in the soil or intrusion of seawater into coastal land. So that means if you use the percentage of crops nearby sea, what happens, the percentage of the salt like sodium chloride will be increases in the surrounding land. It damages the percentage of the crops and growth of the plants. So that is nothing but a salination. So, what are the other forms of the land degradation? That means first one is the soil erosion and a contamination of the soil with industrial waste, overgrazing, and over irrigation. So, there are mainly four other forms of the land degradation. Nothing but first one is the soil erosion, and second one is the contamination of soil with industrial waste, and third one is overgrazing, and fourth one is the over irrigation. First of all, we see soil erosion. So that means soil is not immune to erosion, and like rocks along a coastal line, soil can erode due to the effects of forces such as water, wind, and farming practices. That means the soil mainly takes place the immune to erosion. Nothing but like rocks and along coastline, soil can erode due to factors effects of the forces such as water and wind and farming practices. That means soil is naturally created when small pieces of weathered rocks and minerals mix with the organic materials from the decaying plants and animals. That means soil creation is a slow process taking many years. That means, however, the soil that is created is constantly subjected to natural and man-made forces that disrupt the substance. So that means soil erosion is defined as the wearing away of the top soil. That means the surface of the land will express the soil erosion. That means the topsoil is the top layer of the soil and is the most fertile because it contains the most organic and nutrient rich materials. That means the top layer containing the not only organic matter, even contains the inorganic nutrients also. So that means therefore this is the layer that farmers want to protect for growing their crops, and ranchers want to protect for growing grasses for their cattle to graze on. So that means one of the main causes of the soil erosion is the water erosion. That means which is the loss of the topsoil due to water. So raindrops fall directly on top soil. So based on this para, why you can give the topsoil importance? Why? Because the rainfall is directly takes place on the surface of the soil. So that in but the topsoil is very important. If topsoil containing the so many nutrients and organic matter, the plant growth will be increases automatically. The percentage of crop also developing takes place. So the impact of the raindrops loosens the material bonding it together, allowing small fragments to the detach. That means if the rainfall continues, water gathers on the ground, causing water flow on the land surfaces, known as surface water runoff. That means this runoff carries the detached soil materials away and deposits them elsewhere. That means the surface of the land is freely run of the water. That is nothing but is surface water. So if surface water is more, it can covers the all the entire area of the surface of the land in order to develop the plant growth. So otherwise it can cause the so many land degradation phenomena. So there are some conditions that can agitate surface water runoff, and therefore soil erosion takes place. So, for example, if the land is sloped, there is a greater potential for the soil erosion. So, due to simple fact that gravity pulls the water and soil materials down the slope. That means gravel is pulls directly proportional to the water and soil materials down the slope. That means also water will have an easier time running across the surface, carrying type soil with it. That means water is very important for the time running to cover the entire surface, and topsoil become highly important for the plant growth. So now let us see what are the types of the erosions. There are mainly different types of the soil erosion caused by the water. So first one we see the sheet erosion. Sheet erosion. That means sheet erosion is the erosion that occurs fairly evenly over an area. That means as raindrops loosen the soil, the surface water runoff can transport the topsoil in a uniform fashion, almost like a bed sheet sliding off a bed. That means this can be suitable, that is might not to even be noticed until much of the valuable nutrient rich topsoil has already been washed away. That means The sheet erosion occurs mainly on the over area. That means whenever the raindrops takes place on the surface of the soil, then it will be water running takes place on the transport of the topsoil and uniform coverage. That means uniform wet on the surface of the earth, and it will be sliding takes place. It is nothing but a bed sheet on the bed. So this can be suitable that they might not even be noticed until much of the valuable. That means the nutrients will be spread out on the entire topsoil, and washing takes place. So, in a farmer heads of the field and sees an accumulation of the soil and crop residue at one end of the field, he should be worried about the sheet erosion. That means the farmers will take very careful about this soil erosion. So, one of the type of the sheet erosion. So, whenever the rainfall falls on the surface of the earth, nothing but the topsoil of the earth, it covers the entire area. Then only the uniform plant growth will be takes place. So second one is the rill erosion. So rill erosion is the erosion that results in small, short-lived and well-defined streams. That means when rainfall does not soak into the soil, it can gather on the surface and run downhill, forming small channels of water called rills. So you see the diagram. You can use this fact a memory jogger. If you remember that a little rill will run downhill, that means a rill will dry up after the rainfall, but you may still see the stream bed that was created by the temporary stream. So this is the diagram for a rill erosion. See the diagram. The breakage of the land will be takes place, topsoil. Okay. And next one is the gully erosion. So gully erosion can be thought of as advanced rill erosion. That means, in fact, if rills are not addressed, they will grow into the larger gullies. So that means gully erosion can spell big problems for farmers because the affected land is not able to be used for the growing crops, and the big ditches create a hazard for the farmer driving his farm machinery over the fields. So mainly there are two types of the gully erosions. First one is the V-shaped gully, and the second one is the U-shaped gully. Okay, so first of all, V-shaped gully. What are the characteristics of the Juke and Casual series? That means it is nothing but a horizon, and second one is the B horizon. That means in this case we see the good ground and structures, and good granular to the small multi structure, and individual axle rates have a high degree of the stability. So this is about the V-shaped gully, and let us say U-shaped gully. So what are the characteristics of the and grain bit series? So nothing but these are mainly three types of the horizon: A1 horizon, and AA horizon, and B horizon. So after that we see the poor hard compact structure, and a massive structure with casually described, and muddy structure when dry but easily dispersed when wet condition. That means out of two, V-shaped gully is better than the U-shaped gully. So after that we see the bank erosion. So bank erosion is another type of the water erosion, and it defined as the erosion of a bank of a stream or waterway. That means surface water runoff always moves towards the lowest level due to gravity. So therefore, low-lying streams, rivers, and even constructed drainage channels collect water runoff. That means, however, over time, this water activity and other forces naturally wear down the banks lining the waterways. So we see the diagram of the bank erosion. Like other types of the erosion, bank erosion needs to be managed. That means otherwise it can reduce the productive farmland and force a threat to the structural integrity of the roads. Okay. And next one is the slip erosion. So this occurs due to heavy rainfall on the slopes of the hills and mountains. So this is about the total types of the erosions. So first one is the soil erosion, and second one is the soil erosion. This soil erosion will be classified into following types: sheet erosion, rill erosion, gully erosion, bank erosion, and slip erosion. So out of these five erosions, we can directly learn to the which are the factors are directly proportional to land degradation. In order to reduce those factors, then only we apply the so many crops on the surface of the land, nothing but top soil, in order to develop the percentage of the crops proportional to the population growth. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.